Yeah, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's class. In today's class, we'll be going into what is called CSS framework. And what is CSS framework? CSS framework are libraries and tools that are used to build faster. Instead of you trying to, as I wrote here, CSS framework is a code library that is extract for common design and makes it easier for developers to use. So instead of you trying to write your code, your navigation bar, one after the other, you don't have to do that. You just go to the CSS library, which is some CSS library in framework include um, just random kind of design. Okay, they have different kind of components ranging from your navigation to your button to your text to your colors and everything you need to build a website. You don't necessarily have to start writing the code. You don't necessarily have to start writing the CSS all by yourself. What you just have to do is just copy the component from the documentation and paste it into your CSS code, and you are good to go. And why use CSS framework? For good speed, for your speed of development. If you are using CSS framework, you can actually write you can actually write you can actually build your website faster than anything else, because you're not going through the stress of trying to think of how is it going to be responsive, because it's it's already responsive. You are just copying someone else's code because the person has worked on the responsiveness and every other thing. Also, it enables cross functionalities across websites, across browser functionalities. So every functionality is already responsive across all screen sizes, from your tablet, your desktop, your mobile. You don't have to think about the responsiveness at all before it becomes responsive. So another thing is it enforces good design habits and gives you clean code and layout. Also, it makes you learn. So those are some of the reason why you make use of CSS framework. Also, some of the CSS framework includes Bootstrap, Tailwind CSS, and Material UI. Bootstrap is a component-based CSS framework. Material UI is also a component-based CSS framework. But Tailwind CSS is just you writing your normal class name. It gives you the flexibility. While Bootstrap is extremely while Bootstrap is extremely rigid on their styles, while Bootstrap is completely rigid on their style, Tailwind CSS gives you the flexibility. And one of the two major ones we'll be looking at in this beginner class is Bootstrap and Tailwind CSS. For Material UI, you have to be using I've not used Material UI in HTML and CSS. I've only used it when I'm working with JavaScript frameworks such as React and Next. So the major focus for this class is going to be Bootstrap and Tailwind CSS. So what is Bootstrap? Bootstrap is a free and open source framework used for creating websites, and it also has JavaScript incorporated into it, developing mobile responsiveness, developing responsive mobile first projects. So Bootstrap, one of the approach Bootstrap follows is using a mobile a mobile first approach. And how do you make use of Bootstrap? So let's go to the Bootstrap website. So how to make you just go to Bootstrap 5, and it's actually easy to make use of. Please, who is writing on my screen? To make use of Bootstrap, everything you just need to do is just read the documentation. For Bootstrap, you don't need to think too much. You have an idea of what you want to do in your head. You just go to the Bootstrap documentation, and as a developer, it is very, very essential, and it is of utmost importance that you do what? You always read documentation, because it gives you an endless possibilities to things. Okay, instead of you trying to think about, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that, you just go to the documentation, and it shows you how to use it. So this is the Bootstrap introduction page, and what you need to make use of Bootstrap is just this link, this href link, as I said. Copy and paste this href into the head before your other CSS styles. So that is the first thing we have to do. We copy this link and we go to our VS Code. And something that we have, I have a template already. I have my styles, I have my index.html. So the first thing we have to do is, please confirm my VS Code is not too thin for you guys to see. It's not too tiny. Please confirm. Hello? Should I zoom into my VS Code, or I should?
Please zoom in, sir.
Yes, sir. Zoom in, sir.
All right, thank you. Let me just zoom in. Is it okay like this?
It's better this way.
Okay? All right. So one thing you have to do is, even if you are going to have every other CSS file, your Bootstrap file has to come in first, which is what we are going to do here. So we have pasted our Bootstrap CSS into our document right here now. And once we save it, Bootstrap is already installed into our project. And the next thing, we might probably want to have our own CSS, because, as I said, Bootstrap is very rigid, and it doesn't give you the flexibility to do some things like Tailwind CSS is going to give you. So you might probably want to add your own CSS, which is href. Let me call it type of style sheet. Style sheet, and we have our style sheet inside our styles folder. We have this, and we just go here and we do our normal regular CSS reset, which you always do. So this is, I know we are all familiar with this. So now that we have this, okay, I've not closed this actually. So with this, we have our Bootstrap all installed into our project already. We don't necessarily have to start thinking about styles. And one of the projects we'll be working with on this project is actually this. I think I have something coming. I think I have, sorry please. I'm sorry, I can't. There's a project I want us to work on, which I've highlighted. So I'm trying to get the link to the project. Pending that, let's just continue with the project, with how to make use of Bootstrap. So we have gotten our Bootstrap link. We have gotten our Bootstrap installed into our project. There are two different ways of making use of Bootstrap. You can either use the Content Delivery Network, CDN, or you can actually download the whole Bootstrap project into your file, which is this. If you come here now, once you click on download, you can see you just have to download the whole source folder of your Bootstrap into your CSS, into your project folder, and you have everything you need for your project. But as I also said, it's not also advisable that you download all these packages into your project. You can just use the Content Delivery Network, and by the time you use the Content Delivery Network, which is just the link which I copied at first, you have access to unlimited resources. Peradventure, there's an update that is made to Bootstrap. We're in Bootstrap 5 now, and you want to make use of Bootstrap 6. The only thing that you just have to do is probably just have to change the link at your header position, or the upgrade, if it's just a minor issue, the upgrade is done directly to the changes you have made is directly visible on your code. Are you guys following me? Hello, guys. Please, are you following me? Or
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
all right. So, as I've told you, it's also a good practice that you use the content for
I hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know that my network went off. Sorry, please. Sorry, please. Where did you lose me so I can backtrack? Hello.
Talking about the bootstrap, downloading it.
Okay, all right. So I you can also download it, but it is not a good practice. Like I've always said, why do you want to have every file on your system when you can always just make do with a simple CDN, making your folder light and well optimized. That is one of the best thing with content delivery network. So it also comes with a JavaScript. So um, Bootstrap has JavaScript embedded in it. And if you go to the introduction here, you can also see a template code. This is the starter file. To make use of your CSS, to make use of what's the name? Bootstrap, and you don't know how to go about it, it gives you a starter file. This is it. You can see starter template. If you copy this starter template, you can also put it inside, you can also put it in your VS Code and you have everything working same way. So we have done this and we don't necessarily, I save it. Let's remove the ones we don't need so that everything is aligned properly. So the below one here is for JavaScript. This is it. The link right here is for JavaScript, and some of the things you'll be using Bootstrap for, you would actually need JavaScript for it. So let me change the name of this to Bootstrap class. So, and I think we are done. And also let's link our CSS to it. So this is, let's now go to our live browser. I've not hosted it. I've not opened it. Go live. So let's go live and see what we have. So let me, my default browser on my system is actually Safari, but I just make use of Chrome. Chrome is my go-to tool, so we can always do this. So this is what we have. The reason why we have this is simply because, so what's the difference between index CSS and style CSS? Well, Adelaja, there's no difference actually. It's just the naming convention. I can use style.css, you can use index.css. I mentioned that in the previous classes. That is just the naming convention, but the prefix that have to be behind it is the CSS. And that is what you need. You don't necessarily need anything more than that. Do you understand, Adelaja? Okay. All right. Thank you. So this is what we have for our bootstrap, and this our style. You can see we didn't give our. Let me remove our CSS style, our bootstrap, so that we can know that the style we gave this H1 is actually the style for the H1 is actually coming directly from bootstrap. Not, we didn't give it any style. You can see this is the normal style for our H1 element. But by the time we added our bootstrap, element to it, by the time we added you can see that the H1 is styled from bootstrap directly, not us just styling it, add coding it. Please, are you following? Any question? At this point, is there any question?
No, sir.
Are you sure? All right, so there's no question. So you can see that. And as I said, this is what we'll be building with Bootstrap, this simple website. And you would know that we are not going to make use of any CSS. We are just going to be making use of Bootstrap. So the first thing we need for this project is actually what? The first thing we need is a navigation. So we have to go to Bootstrap components. You can see layout, or you can see components. This is Bootstrap component, and we need a navigation. We just come here to navigation bar, and this is what we need. This is particularly what we need for our project. We just have to pick it and customize it to what we want. So we are going to copy this. We will look for a particular one. Let's check. Let's keep checking which one fits what we want to do. Can anyone see which one fits into our design? Yeah, we will just have to check that out and see the particular one that we want. So then let's just go for the top one, for the first one, so that we can always style it to what we want eventually. So we have copied this. Sorry, please, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, but it's
Yes,
yeah.
yes, we can hear you now.
All right. So this is the navigation we need. This is the navigation we actually need. So the next thing we just have to do is we just have to copy it and paste it into our Java, our VS Code right here. So this is what we need. We paste it right here and we save it. And let's check. This is what we have right now. We have this, and you can see if we check for it, you can always see that it's responsive. Let's check it out. You can see with Bootstrap, you don't have to think of responsiveness because it automatically comes with responsiveness across all screen sizes. You can see even to the mobile view, it is responsive. It is fully responsive. That's why I said you can build a website in a day using Bootstrap. So to your tablet, to your desk, to your mobile, and every other screen size is fully responsive. You don't have to start thinking, okay, I want to make this responsive. No, just copy it from Bootstrap documentation and paste it into your code directly, and you have a responsive design. So what do we have to do now? We now have to, this Bootstrap, what we have right here is not what we want, because you can see our navigation is extended to the left. So now we now have to edit this by ourselves. Let's go back to our code. We don't need this form, which is this. We don't actually need this form. So what do we need? What do we need? We need a logo right here. First things first, we need a logo. Where's our logo? Okay, this is our logo here. We have a logo, same way we always do it. We have a logo right here in our in our navigation, we have in our images folder, we have a logo right there. Then we do our src, this, and we do a /images/logo. I named it favicon.png. Then we close this out. Alt, just you know what an alt does. Logo, and I'll give it a width and height of 50 pixel. So let's check it out. This is basically what we have. You can see we have our icon right here. But some of these things about Bootstrap is that it is extremely rigid. So some of the things we want to do, well, I don't want to use CSS. I don't want to use CSS at all. Everything I want us to use is majorly from Bootstrap and inline styling. So with Bootstrap, majorly what you'll be using is actually inline styling. You just be calling the class name. You are just going to be calling the class name, as you will see as we go on. So let's move on to the next part of it, which is you can see that our navigation bar has more like of a background color of green. So when we go to Bootstrap, documentation, you would see that you have to go to the colors. Let's go to background colors. Let's search. You can also search here. Just search BG. Just search for background color. You can see background color. Everything you need, just click on the search button and you have it. You can just search for it. We have a BG success. So what do we have to do? We just copy it. You just copy this BG success as a class name and you paste it right into your code. And we have it right here. We paste it right here and we check it out. Why are you not showing? Have I not saved? BG success. What's going on? Oh, sorry. We have a BG light here. You can see we have two conflicting CSS styles. So let's check it out. You can see we have our component. I didn't have to start thinking of what's my background color. And if you also look at this, you will see that there's kind of a subtle gray. Paul, what's your question? Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, so where did you get that background image? Because it's like you are too fast.
I have a component. I have a component for my image. I have a folder for my images right here.
Yeah, I know. I mean the background, the color. You went to Bootstrap and copied some. So
yeah, I went to Bootstrap and I went to Bootstrap and I needed the background color. So what do I need to do? You can see under the utilities here, you have different kind of utilities. You have the API, you have the background color, which is for any kind of background color you want. And if you don't know where it is, just come to this search documentation and click on and search background color, and it gives you the list of background colors that we have. Also, another thing that we have on our, do you understand now, Paul?
yes, I understand. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So if you can check our code base, what we have right here, you can see that we do have something that looks like a gray, a subtle green. A subtle green. Afolabi, what's your question, please?
Sorry, sir. What if you check the Bootstrap and you don't have the color there?
Yeah, that is why I said Bootstrap is very rigid. You can't use anything that Bootstrap anything that Bootstrap don't have. You particularly have to go and write it on your CSS by yourself. That is it.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Thank you. All right.
So
thank you.
that's it. Anything that Bootstrap don't have, you have to particularly go to CSS and write it. Paul, do you still have a question? Your hand is still raised.
Yes, The way you copied it, like you just give it a class name, so automatically it affected the design.
You are not the one giving it the class name. You are not the one giving it the class name. The class name is direct from Bootstrap. You can see now, the class name is directly from Bootstrap, which is BG Success. That is for a background color of green. You just write the class name of BG Success. That is what is going to give you a background color of green. Do you understand, Paul?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Josephine, what's your question? Josephine?
That if
Yeah?
the can you hear me now, sir? Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
I hear you.
Okay. You said that if the color is not there, that we should write it in our CSS. You know,
Yes.
I have to target a class.
Yes, you
Like,
just give it your own personal class name.
okay, I will go. Okay. I'll give it my own
Yeah,
personal class name.
yeah.
Okay.
Let me do something like that. Let's do a. And one other thing you have to be careful now is you don't have to. You are not conflicting bootstrap classes. So let's just give it navigation. Let's be sure that what we are writing is not navigation heading dash nav heading, and let's go to our CSS and style it. We have a nav heading dash heading, background color gold. Let me save this also. Is it navi heading? Okay, let's check this. You can see Bootstrap does not have a background color of gold, but we need a background color of gold. So I just go to my CSS and write my own class name and target it appropriately. Do you understand now, Josephine?
Yes, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Genevieve, which of them is it, my code base or the result on the screen? Hilary, what's your question? I can't hear you, Hilary.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, that means, sir, our CSS overrides Bootstrap. What of
Yes,
if,
CSS overrides
for example,
Bootstrap. Wait,
okay, sir,
wait,
okay, sir,
wait,
no
wait,
problem.
wait, wait. CSS can override Bootstrap if you are not giving him, if you are not giving it the particular, if the class name are not conflicting. If the class name
Okay,
are conflicting, what you write in your HTML will definitely overwrite your CSS.
okay, sir. For instance, if, for example, we that nav bar, we just copied it and it has its padding, has everything. So if we want to style it and put our own padding in CSS, it will override the bootstrapped heading and the bootstrapped padding and margin.
Well, you have to put something called important in front of this, an exclamation important. Once you put an exclamation important in front of it, then it goes through.
Okay, okay,
Once you put
sir.
an exclamation important in front of it, it goes through. So
Okay,
you are
okay,
enforcing it that, okay, oh, this is the style I want for this particular element. Do you
okay, sir.
understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's move on. So let's come back to this part, BG success. And also we have more like a gray color. We have more like a, will I say, a subtle green. That's like a gradient. Okay, just Genevieve, I would actually do this. I'll actually zoom into my code base. And you can see everything I'm just doing, I'm just copying it directly from Bootstrap. I don't have to start thinking of, now, if you want to add a linear gradient, a gradient like a subtle ash color on your code, you have to do something like a linear gradient and the color. But with Bootstrap, all you just need to do is you just copy, you just copy your, you just copy what you need and move it to your CSS, and you are good to go. So now let's continue. let's continue. Is there any at this point? Is there any question? Josephine, what's your question?
Okay, I noticed that the nav bar that we have and the one that the Bootstrap gave us is not exactly the way it is. Our own home is on this side and their own is on the other
Yeah,
side.
we are going to correct that.
Okay.
Yeah, so the best way we are going to do that is we just give it an MX auto. I think I'm trying to auto, MS. Yeah, let's see. With MS auto, let's see if it moves to the. Okay, you can see once I gave it an MS auto, and it moved to the left hand side. That's I'm giving it a margin on the right hand and the left hand side. Do you understand?
Yes, MS auto. That MS, what does it mean? Margin.
Margin left and
Please,
right.
can you come?
Okay.
Please, can you take it again, sir?
What's that? What should I take again, Damilola?
The MS auto, like.
The MS, what MS means is that you are giving it, there is MS. Let's go to Bootstrap documentation, so I don't start saying it from my head. Everything you need for Bootstrap is all in the documentation. You just have to come to the documentation. Let's come to margin. You just type margin and padding layout. Let's come here. You can see MS. Where is it? MX is aligning something to the center. You can see, if you check this part now, you can see M stands for margin and S stands for start. That is, you are giving it a margin right, a margin to the left of auto. That means it's going to push it to the extreme left, to the extreme right rather. That means let's do margin E. Damilola, do you understand? Damilola?
I'm looking at the documentation, so I'm getting it.
Yeah, so you can see MT is margin top. That means if you do an MT, that is margin top. If you do an MB, that is margin bottom. If you do an MS, that is margin start. Margin left rather. If you do an ME, that is margin right. If you do an MX, that is margin left and right. If you do an MY, that is margin top and bottom. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Afolabi, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. It's just that I really want to get it. Like this Bootstrap now, it has like is it short form? Just like what you have explained now. So now if I want to put margin start, I will know I'm pushing it to the right hand side and it's going
Yeah,
to take it to the extreme end. So
yeah.
for me that I'm just learning now, is it that anytime I want to put it, if I'm to search for margin, I will have to go to the search box and put the full, or what's it called, like margin
Well,
top for me to know that I'm using.
for me, I don't necessarily have to start searching for margin top or margin bottom. I know what I want to do. So you need a margin. You just that's why the search box is there. You need a margin. You just type margin. Once you type margin, it gives you where margin is. This is margin. Let's click on margin space utilities. It gives you all your margin that you need. Margin, and you can see the highest margin you can ever give to Bootstrap is margin 5. That's if you do an M5, that is, you are giving it a margin. Let's do an ME5. Let's do an ME5. You would see ME5, MS5 rather, MS5. Let's do an MS5. You can see it's not pushing it to the extreme end, which I want. It's not pushing it to the extreme end, which I want. It's actually just pushing it, just giving it a space, a little space. But by the time I do an MS auto, it pushes it to the extreme end. Do you understand, Afolabi?
Yes, sir. But sorry, another question. So what if you now write it in full? Will it affect?
Like you can't write it in full. You can't write margin left full. You can't write it. That
Okay.
Bootstrap has given you the short form already, which is MS Auto. If you write margin left, margin dash left, auto, it's not going to work.
It's not affect.
It
All
won't be
right.
affected because Bootstrap does not know what is margin left auto. The margin left auto, Bootstrap has already compiled it into a short form, which is MS. You know,
Yeah.
if you are writing our normal CSS, we have to do margin left and the pixel we want. But
Yes.
on Bootstrap, you just have to do an ME. M stands for margin and S stands for start. That is margin left already. That is why it's written. That's why if you read this documentation properly, you see property of M equals margin, where side of one of C is equals to top, B is equals to bottom, S is equals to start, E is equals to end.
And
Yeah, that is how it goes.
all right. So thank you.
No. Samuel. If you want to give space to the right and left, that is when you use MX Auto. I am only giving a space to the left hand side. That is why I gave it an MS Auto. Samuel, can you unmute? Samuel, margin center. There's not, if you want to do margin center, that is when you are going to use MX at Samuel has said. Let's do an MX. Let's do an MX. That's giving it equal margin to the right and left. You can see, Rahim, can you see? I want to put it to the center. I use an MX. That means it's giving it equal margin to the right and equal margin to the left. But I want to push it to the extreme end. That is margin start. It's going to push it from the beginning to the extreme end. So do you understand? Hello, do you understand? Hello, any confusion? Hilary, go ahead. Hilary, go ahead.
Okay, sir. So the first question is how do you just like auto solve the problem? That's one. If we use auto like as our inline CSS, not by Bootstrap, will it work?
The reason why it's going to work because you're actually going to write. Why should you go through the stress of trying to use your margin CSS, writing your inline CSS, when Bootstrap has given you the leverage already? Everything you
Okay,
need,
sir.
just go to Bootstrap documentation and you will see it there. You don't have to start writing inline CSS with what Bootstrap can do.
Okay, sir.
Do you
Okay,
understand
sir.
that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. And if you want to give it Bootstrap is so rigid that the highest margin you can actually give is MS5, which is not what we want. Hilary, you are in a class. You should mute your mic when you're not speaking. Hilary.
Sorry, sir.
So, do you understand now? I made use of auto because I want to push it to the extreme end of the screen, which Bootstrap is not going to give us the permission to do. And I don't want to use inline, I don't want to use an external CSS. I basically just want to make use of CSS itself. of Bootstrap itself. That's why I used an MS Auto. So it's going to push it to the extreme right. Paul, you have a question. Your hand is actually raised, Paul.
Yes. I just wanted to add in that I might be too anxious, but in that drop down, okay, on that now,
Yeah.
when I inspect it here, it's actually giving me the same color on the drop down. Is there any way that somebody can correct that color or make it like another color from the drop down apart from the one that I've been given by Bootstrap?
Yes, you can actually change the color, which is your drop down. My own drop down is giving me white.
Yes, but if you go to mobile view, that's what I'm saying. Mobile view, just inspect, it will give you the same color with the nav.
Yeah, mobile view is going to give you the same color with now because it's inbuilt also. I'm coming. Mine is not giving me the same color. Can you see?
No, I mean that thing. Those letters there is showing black. So what if somebody wants to change it? Want to change it into the white?
I don't understand. You want to change the color of the text, right?
Yes.
And it's the same way you can change the color of the text. You just go to Bootstrap. You just go to Bootstrap and change the color, the text color to white. Let's come here. Let's go to color. Let's come to text. This is our text here. You can see, want to change the text color to white. BG primary, text wrap. Everything you need is basically here. Font size F1. Let's search for it. Font color. Come in. A bit text color rather. Let's go to color and see. You can see text. You can see if you want to make use of any text, you just use either text primary, text secondary, and what we want for our one is text white. So we come right here and we have a text white. Let's change. For this one, we have on the A tag, we have a text white. That is telling us that our text color should be white, which is what we have right here. Can you see, Paul? Our text color is now white.
Okay. Okay.
So if you want to change anything, any color, any font size, just go to Bootstrap. You have your font size right there. Victoria Akwan, you're asking a question. Do we have to give each element a class name for the style? Victoria, you are not the one giving it a class name. It is Bootstrap that is giving you the class name. You are just styling it with that boost. We are just styling it with that class name. Yes, you can change audio colors to white. Let's try this. Let's do this. We come here and we do something called, I don't know if this is going to work, but let's try it out. Let's do text white and see if it's going to affect audio colors right there. It's not going to affect audio colors. So you have to target it one after the other. So, Hilary. So you have to target everything one after the other. Text white. Where's this other one? Drop down. Here also text white. And make sure you're also conscious of the spacing. And here also text white. You have it disabled. Let's do it text white, Ctrl Z. Let's do it text white. So you can see all our text is turned into white. You just have to target them one after the other. So I'll put the text white inside the URL. Let's see. Okay, I've not tried this before, but let's see. Into the UL. Let's see text white. Text white. Yeah, and let's comment out every text white we have right here. Let's comment out every text white we have right here. So let's do it for the first one. Let's see if the home is going to change to white. You can see the home, you have to target each of the elements one after the other. Wisdom, can you see? Hello, Wisdom. Wisdom. Okay. Miriam, the only reason why you have to put an important on a particular component is because your style name are going to be conflicting. Peradventure now, you see, you saw when I changed the background color of this particular element. Let's do a navi icon, navi dash heading, and we come to our CSS here. And I save this. Let's see. You can see it didn't work because Bootstrap is actually overwriting the style we have. But if I do this and I put an important in front of it, exclamation important in front of it, this should actually overwrite it. You can see. Miriam, can you see? The reason why our style didn't work at first was because you can see that we have a background here actually. You can see we have a background here of BG success and BG gradient. If we remove this BG success and BG gradient, and we also save it and also remove this important from here, it's going to work because we don't have any style that is conflicting. We don't have any conflicting style. But by the time we have a conflicting style, that is when we have to add the important in front of it so that we know what we want to do next. So that we tell Bootstrap that, okay, regardless of the style Bootstrap is giving to us, this is the particular style I want. Miriam, do you understand? What if our class comes first? It doesn't matter. Bootstrap is still going to overwrite it. If you can remember in the class when I was talking about specificity of how important, of the order of importance of, I think if you use an inline style, it overrides what you have in your external style. I think I mentioned that in one of the CSS beginner class, in one of the CSS introductory lecture. Paul, your hand is raised. Go ahead. Paul, your hand is
Sorry, it's mistake. Sorry.
okay. All right. So can I go ahead? Can I go ahead with what we are building so that we just have few minutes left so we can
Yes,
at least
yes, sir.
okay. So let's return back what we have here. Let's do a Control Z. So all this is settled. We have seen with just how many lines of code we have finished up with just a single line of we just copy and paste. We have actually finished up our navigation. The only thing that is left for us to do is just okay, we just want to edit it to fit the navigations that we have. Yes, Sirat, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I noticed you didn't put the exclamation important in the global set.
That
What's the
one,
reason?
I don't need to put an exclamation because Bootstrap does not have a global reset. I don't need to, I'm not putting it. This one is just for the user's browser, it's not coming from CS. This one does not have any business with Bootstrap actually. So I don't need to put an exclamation for padding 0, border 0. No, this is just for me to reset, to do a global reset of our user's browser, which is what I mentioned, why we make use of global reset. Do you understand, yes, Sirat?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What if you don't want the drop down? Well, you can always remove it. If you don't want the drop down, the only thing you just have to do is You just remove it, simple, which is on here. You just remove it. Let's copy this link and replace it with what we have right here. Okay, and replace it with what we have right here. So I want to save it. We don't have a drop down again. So if you don't want anything, just remove it and replace it with what you want. So that's how you go about it. Cecilia. Was it Cecilia that asked that question or who? Yeah, okay, Cecilia. So let's move on. I think we all understand how Bootstrap now works. So let's now move on to the next section. The next section is actually this whole viewport. So now, if you notice something now, you can see that when I'm scrolling, my navigation bar does not scroll up finally, which is something that you can do with CSS. And how do you do that? You just come here to your Bootstrap and it's called position. Yeah, it's the position. With position, you just do sticky top. I'm coming. I'm trying to search for it. Is the position of your element actually. I can't remember how to do that, but I think I know it's sticky. Okay, position sticky top. I know it's sticky, so once you do a sticky top, everything your CSS, your element just stick to the top. How about knowing the naming convention? You don't have to know the naming convention, Hilary. Just go to Bootstrap documentation and read it there. Everything you need, every style you need, just go to Bootstrap documentation. You see there. You can see I'm not the one picking the naming convention. You can see I just come here. I can see it has given me an option on how to do it. I just copy it and I paste it in my code and I'm good to go. I paste it right in my code here and I don't have to think about probably it is neat, is conflicting or any other thing. Bootstrap gives me the leverage to do that. It depends on your style now. For me now, this is the prototype I am following. So I know that okay, I need a navigation. I have gone to Bootstrap navigation, I've gotten the navigation. I need a color. The text color. It is sticky. If you have done, I think you have done positioning. Yeah. I think we have done position. You know that okay, this thing has to be fixed to the top. For you to be able to understand Bootstrap, you have to know properly. Fixed is also there. Let's check. Let's search for fixed. Let's see fixed top. Yeah, if we use fixed top, it's also there. So it depends on what you want to do. Just know okay, this is what I want to do. Then go to Bootstrap documentation and just search for it, and you get your style right there. Do you understand? Hilary, do you understand? Okay, all right. So the next thing we want to do now is okay, we want to set up this view, this hero section. So how do we do that? We just come here. You can either use a div or a section, anyone, but I will just use a div. Let me use a div and I give it a class name, a class. Excuse me. We can see that from what we have on the screen, it's a background of green. It's also same as our header. It's also same as our navigation, so I don't need to go back to CSS. I just do this. And also I do a BG gradient. And let's check what we have. Let's check what we have. It's not going to show because there's no content on it yet. So what do we have to do? We have to give it a content inside it. So we do something called, I think, let me check right here. So we do a div class of what is called container. I'm going to be making use of my Emmet abbreviations now so that I know that you understand what emit abbreviation is. And the next thing we have to do is now, if you want to work with responsiveness on Bootstrap, there are some things you have to put into consideration. Let's check what we have right here, and let's see how responsive it looks. So this is how it looks on a mobile screen. Not pleasing to the eye, but I just came up with something. So let's continue. We have this, and we have to just make use of some normal CSS components which we have always been using. We have to do a div, and we have a class. Please, if you have any question, just kindly unmute and speak, so we know we are all following. That's 5. That means I'm giving it a padding top of 5. I'm giving it a column span of 12. So this is also based on responsive design. So you have to understand. So when I'm on my mobile screen, I'm giving it an MD call. Francisca, please go ahead.
Okay, sir, this side that you are typing now, that you're writing the codes for, there is no part like that in Bootstrap that can help us do that.
There is. Just come to Bootstrap and you do a call. Let's do a column. I think, yeah, this is it. Column. Call 12. I'm coming. You can see we have different kind of columns. You just have to go into Bootstrap documentation and you find it there. Call 6, call 12.
Okay.
Coming. Yeah, so let's check our grid. It's just the normal way we do our grid column, grid template column of 12, grid template column of 6. So that is what the column does. So you can see it's just the CS Bootstrap has particularly everything you need. You don't need to start thinking over your head what you need. So we needed a column there, and we don't want to go to our CSS to start writing display grid template column, the number of boxes we need. So we just do a call 12, and on a medium screen, that is occupy the full width. And on a medium screen, the next thing you have to do is you become 6. That is what call medium 6 means. That means when you're on a small screen, you become 6 column instead of the regular 12 column that we have. You become a 6 column grid. And on a mobile device, just occupy the full width. So on a mobile device, you occupy 12, that is full. And on a medium view, you divide into 2. That means you just take up 6 column out of the regular 12 that is there. Francisca, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Paul, what's your question?
Yes, sir. With the extension that you use, whether XNet or something, I was really
I've talked about that in
the
HTML.
one that gave me suggestion on something.
Is emit abbreviation. Is HTML. Those are some of the extensions. Emit, EMMET, emit abbreviation. So let's continue. We have a call 6, and the next thing we have is on a large screen also we have a call dash LG dash 6, and we want to put the text to the center, which is text dash center. So just like your text align center, you just do the text center, and the next thing we have is we have our H2. Let's do what is there? What do we have there? We have Thor and Ike. Okay. Thor and Ike. So let's check this out. So you guys can see that we don't have our element is not as high as what we have right here. Who can tell me what I can do if you understand our CSS? If you understand CSS properly, what can I do to make the view height 100, to make it I don't need to give it a main or any other thing. I don't need to give it a main or any other thing. Adelaja. Bootstrap, since it's Bootstrap we are using, Bootstrap understands everything. Max height. Does Bootstrap have something called max height? Let's check. Let's check height. Let's check height. No, there's nothing like max height. Someone said max height, max height. Let's search for max height. Max height dash height. There's nothing like max height though. There's nothing like max height. Someone said line height. You can't use the line height. Max content, view height. Yeah, the right thing to use is a view height. A view height of 100%. A view height of 100. So we just copy this, a view height of 100, and we paste it right inside our code. Paste it right inside our code, right here. Paste it on our BG right here, and let's check it out. We can see we have a full-fledged height. Do you understand? Are you still confused with how to make it a bootstrap? Hello, Paul, your hand is raised. Do you have a question? Hilary, what don't you understand? Hilary, what don't you understand? Hilary,
Okay, sir. So I'm trying to start with the chatbot because I'm actually in a cafe. That PT, sorry, back to the code. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah.
I don't understand this. The dev, the one that has the one inside the container, which is PT5
What does
code 12
what
code
does what does
MD6.
PT means? What does with your idea of CSS? What does PT means? What does P means in CSS? I have shown you what P means. P means padding.
Yes, sir. PP
This
is
is
padding.
P, then T means top. That means I'm giving it a padding top of 5.
5. The
Yes.
okay.
So let's go to Bootstrap documentation. If we check for padding, you can see I made mention of it right here. P means padding, PX, PT, that is padding top, PB, that is margin bottom, PS, that is margin left or padding left, PE, that is margin right or padding right, PX is padding right and left, PY is margin bottom, top and bottom. Do you understand that, Hilary?
Yes, I understand that part. Is it
So
column?
for the column, what did you say?
The code, is it column?
Yes, the call is column. It's just the short form of column. The way we are using our grid template column, you do a call 12, a grid template column of repeat 3, like that. That is what your column means. That is what the call means. Do you understand?
So I get it.
All right. So we can move on.
Sorry, sir. Let me see the code again. I have not seen everything on it.
So this is it.
Margin. Okay. catch up.
So everything you need to do is in Bootstrap. You just need to check the documentation and understand what you want to build. With your understanding of CSS, which we have done over the couple of weeks, you should be able to understand everything with Bootstrap. Bootstrap is just giving you a shortcut. Okay, instead of you writing like 5 lines of code for CSS for a particular thing, you just pick one element from Bootstrap and you are done. And Josephine, please unmute and speak.
So sir, that column MD6, is it what is making it responsive?
Yeah, that's what is going to make it responsive. That when it's on a medium screen.
Okay.
When it's on a medium screen, the next thing you just have to do is just instead of you occupying a full, we just occupy 6 columns. That is be aligned to the center. Let me just use that word on a mobile screen. Do you understand, Josephine? So
Yes. Yes.
All right, thank you.
So I will read the documentation for this to know the various screen sizes that I will be putting in each case.
Yes. So you don't necessarily need to read the documentation. Once you see a design of what you want to build, once you have a raw sketch of what to build in your head and you understand your CSS. Okay, now let me explain what we have on this on our browser here. For this top part, we know that we have a logo and a navigation. And what do we need to do? What do we need to do? The next thing we did was, the next thing at this point means that there is going to be, both of them are going to be side by side. So what do you use in your normal CSS to display flex? You use a deflex. And for CSS, for CSS, for your navigation, everything is already embedded inside your CSS. Your CSS navigation, let's inspect it and see. Let's inspect this and see our console and see the style that comes with it. I'm coming. Let me expand this. Let's check the LL. Okay, let's check the element. And let's select this top one. You can see this nav bar. You can see this nav bar at the top. You can see my size here. You can see the navigation bar. I didn't have to write display flex. Look at it here. Can you see my screen, Josephine? Josephine? Hello?
Can you hear
Hello?
me?
Yeah, I can hear
Can you
you.
hear me? I
Yes,
can
I
see
can.
it.
So you can see that if we wanted to make this in our CSS, we would actually be writing, we have to first target the navigation bar, which is, what do I call it? We have to do a display flex. And you can see .nav bar right here has a display flex, here. If I has a display flex from Bootstrap, which is not what we wrote. You can see it has an align item center, which is everything has to be line by line. You can see everything is aligned properly to the center. It now has a padding top and a padding bottom of 5 pixels. Everything is all done inside the nav.nav, which is same thing we will have done in our CSS if we're actually targeting the elements. So everything we did is just for me to just copy. It's just for me to just copy the nav component from Bootstrap and move it into CSS, into our HTML, and we have the same thing. We don't need to start writing an external CSS for that. Josephine, do you understand?
Yes, I
So
understand.
everything you just have to do is just go to your Bootstrap, understand what you want to do, and bring it to your CSS and just copy the code from Bootstrap and bring it into your code, and you're good to go. Yeah. So are you clear on that?
Yes, thank you, sir. I got it.
Yeah.
Mm.
So our time is already fast spent. Does anyone have any question? We just have 3 minutes to the end of the class.
How are we going to get access to these to the code?
There's no, I don't need to send you my code actually. You can just do the same thing. Just go to just go to Bootstrap documentation and you copy. I didn't do any specific CSS code here. I didn't do anything specific right here. Everything I just did for this class was just copy from Bootstrap and paste in my VS Code, and I'm good to go. But regardless, I'm going to push this. I'm going to push it to GitHub and send the link. You guys should be able to now use GitHub now. I'm going to push this to GitHub. Let me push this to GitHub. Let me go and create a repository for that on GitHub. Let me go to GitHub so you guys can see how you guys can know how to use GitHub again. God knows this is beyond helpful. Yeah, it's helpful actually. It makes, that's like I said in one of the usefulness, it makes coding, it makes you build faster actually. So let me go to GitHub and GitHub. Let's create. This is not a Figma link. I actually built this myself. What I am using as a prototype is what I built myself, not a Figma link. Don't worry, when your tasks come, you actually you actually play around it. Your next task is going to be on Bootstrap actually. Your next task is going to be on Bootstrap. So what do I want to do? I want to initialize the repository. So let's do this. Control V. I'm going to just copy. I'm not going to, I think we all understand. I'm going to do a git add dot. Do a git. Let me do a git add dot and see everything has moved, so it has been added. So the next thing I want to do is I want to do my commit. Just going to copy and paste this, fix commit, and it has gone. So what next do I want to do? You can see what's the name? GitHub is not hard. I don't need to start thinking of what or the next line of command I want to do. I just have to do what I just have to copy it from there and paste it. So let me copy. The next thing is test2. Boluwatife, I don't give you hard tasks now. It's what we do in class. I just ask you guys to do something more better. So there's an error. Test2 already exists. Okay. What's the next thing we are going to do? Is you just have to push origin main. You just have to push it to the origin. By the time we push this, you can see it's already pushed. You can see once it's completed, it's already pushed to GitHub already. And let me refresh this and see why. I don't know, but I think this pushed to a different repo. I'm coming. Let me see. Coming. Test2. Okay. Coming. Instead of test2, it actually pushed to test1. Okay, so this is it, test1. So you can see what we have right here. I just pushed to this branch. This is what I push just now, which is my first commit. So everything I have done is already pushed to this code. So I don't need to start thinking of, even if I make corrections now, let me make a correction. Let me save what I have right here. Save it, do a git add dot git commit. I'm coming. I'm trying to see. I can't see what I'm typing. I can't actually see what I'm typing. I can't actually see what I'm typing down here. So, can you see what I'm typing down there? Please, if you can see, just let me know. Okay. Git, okay. So I do a git push. Okay, so everything is pushed already. Oh, I didn't do a git commit. See me. I didn't do a git commit. So you can see one file included. And also make sure that when you are pushing, you can see that my git tracker is telling me something is changed, but it has not been pushed. So by the time I push this, it goes already. So my GitHub repository is up to date. Let's refresh and see. So please, is there any question from today's class? Is there any question? Hello guys, is there any question?
Are we giving any tax?
Yeah, there's going to be a tax, but I don't think there's going to be a tax this week. It's going to be next week. Yeah, so
All right, sir.
thank you very much for today's class. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
I have a question I raised.